G'day there. So after waiting for me to sort out some personal issues for a while, my partner got sick of waiting for me to finish my frame, and he ordered this kit for a 3D printer. And we've been assembling for the last day and a half now. It looks really simple. I wouldn't have thought it took this long to put together. Some of these brackets have only got 2 screws, but you would be surprised. It's kind of fiddly and there's a lot to it. I've been putting in soldering like crazy, getting all these wires in. We've still got to make some looms and stops here. These guys were really fiddly and annoying. I think someone really needs to work out something better there. The quality of the 3D printed parts as far as quality goes was excellent, but the design not so much. It's a good attempt, and I can see there's improvements over earlier models that I've seen online, but stuff like this. That threaded rod, which moves the whole Z-axis up and down, there's another one there, not connected at the top. Down at the bottom here we've got some really nasty looking plastic clamps, and there's actually just a piece of clear rubber hose like what you'd use for bleeding your brakes or something under there. It's not very solid. It does seem to work, and stuff like this rod here, not fixed in anywhere, slides up and down. This is the main guide rail, and it's actually, the end stop is actually the motor. Like, how hard would it be to just print a bit of plastic in there? Now that I've pulled it out, it's kind of hard to get back in. Belt tensioners are pretty good. Kind of happy there. Some of the belt routing probably could be looked at, although I'm not sure how you would improve that. We've got a purchased hot end here, $45. Most of it's $30 for this bit of fancy space age plastic here that stops the 3D printed parts in the extruder from melting from the heat of the actual extruder. So I think someone needs to work out something there too. I've been told bamboo can be used, and I will be trying that on my repstrap. The extruder I am loving. Works very nicely. We have run some test code and made things move. The motors all do move. Stuff's looking pretty good. But yeah, you know, like, it's a good design. This is the Prusa i3. It is a good simple design for someone that's never built a 3D printer or even doesn't have much construction experience. And it's very simple to put together. But it does leave a few things wanting too, like the heat bed. Doesn't actually... Well, that's as far as it goes. We can't print to the full width size of the heat bed, and that's not a big heat bed. That's like 270mm by 270mm, so it's under a foot square, our print area. It's tiny. The metal frame I'm working on will have a much bigger area. And some of these belts and stuff down here, I do like the way these corners are adjustable. It was really easy to jig the whole frame square. Then stuff like these brackets here, the sizing wasn't quite right. Even though we bought exactly the rod that was specified, I had to glue isopolar sticks all over the bottom of it to make it work. There's just a little bit of play here and there. These end rods that hold the bed rails, the guide rails for the bed, not secured. That's the finished product. That's what you get. There's quite a few like that. It just seems really odd that there's no means of securing that in better. And the motor is actually for this bed on this belt, which I currently have disconnected. The motor's supposed to go at this side, at the back, but we had to move it to the front so that we could get at least one side of the the bed and the extruder to sort of line up near the edge. If that was at the back, this would have gone from there to about there. It was just really tight. Now so if you're following one of these guides, whatever length they say to cut these rods, you can leave it out, you know, 50mm, 2 inches longer at every end. So make each rod 100mm or 4 inches longer. Get it all adjusted right, and then if you've got all this stuff hanging out at the end and you think it's all right, then you cut it off. But yeah, I'm just quite surprised. I've heard other people say it in other 3D printing guides and rep guides. It looks simple. You look at the parts. It should take a couple of hours to put it all together. There's been 2 of us working on this flat out for 2 days. But we do have a pretty good finished product. I'm pretty happy. Everything's level and square and moving nicely. these lineal bearings, when you buy your lineal bearings, which are these guys in here, some of them have rusted quite badly. As soon as they got handled, within 24 hours, there's serious rust appearing, and it's happening on the inside with the bearings too. So if you pull these guys out of a packet, spray them down with some kind of spray lube or something, oil them up to stop them from rusting, and that will also make longer bearing life. And you just got to spend a while making minor adjustments to get this stuff actually moving smoothly and freely. Like I can feel that slides freely and then sort of wants to bind in places. So there's a bit of twisting or warping or something going on there that we still need to tweak out. And while it will run without tweaking that out, the bearings will actually groove up these rods really badly. So yeah, we're nearly ready to print. We're probably another day's work away of playing with test code and neatening up all these wires into a single loom and getting our Arduino Mega and our ramps board mounted over the side here somewhere. And then we'll be ready to do some test prints. So there you go. If you've been thinking about buying a repstrap kit off eBay or whatever, which is where this one came from, that's sort of what you get.
The jumpers, the connectors.
Oh yeah, that was one of the other things, was in all the electronics and stuff, there's double row header pins like this on our board, and we can't get twin jumper lead jumpers to go on. We end up having to use these guys everywhere off the Arduino. I've literally had to, there's solder under that heat shrink there, I've had to solder that on to extend all our motors and stuff. So you want to think about the wiring loom a bit ahead of time, because it's just been a real mess. And I've made some things ridiculously long, but you know, we can get it all sorted out and see what's moving and what's going to catch and trim it off later. But yeah, that's pretty much what you get for a you know, put together yourself kit. And there's just a few little things I'm not really wrapped with, like the way that wobbles fairly readily, the tiny print area. I'm just still boggling at that. It wouldn't be hard to make it a bit bigger. Yeah, there's a hand on there, like, it's not a big print area. There's an A4 page on there. Okay, and when we were reading the guides on how they decided the size for this base rail assembly here, from the, up to the back here, it's the same size as the Arduino handbook. There's no engineering gone into picking a lot of these numbers. So if you're experienced at building and engineering and stuff, I would most definitely build your frame from scratch and stay away from most of the printed parts, with possibly the exception of the extruder.
And don't forget the resistance on that and the amps.
Yeah, also the other one I'm not liking was the this heat bed has a resistance. It's just a DC 12 volt heat bed, positive in, negative out. It has a resistance of 1.3 ohms. It pulls about 9 amps to get up to 80 degrees. Now I've got some toaster wire that I pulled out of a toaster. I've been doing some experiments with that and some aluminium plate, which I'll do a video of soon, and I think I can do better heat control for less amps. So I'm not really wrapped with these heat beds either, although if you're not experienced with resistors and resistor wire and stuff, it's possibly an option. But yeah, so if you're an experienced builder, don't buy a kit. They're just the print quality on the parts is really excellent. They're really precise and neat, and I was really impressed when we pulled all the parts out of the packet. But it's designed by, it seems to me that it's designed by people that are really good at computers and have put quite a bit of effort into it, but they're just not engineering people. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that I would do a bit differently. Like just the low number of screws on some of these plastic parts. It wouldn't be hard to have reinforced that up a bit higher and have a second screw up there. You know, it would have made it so much stronger and less wobble and play in the whole thing. This just, I think that's crazy. The tension on this belt actually causes these bars to bow in the middle, so when people are experiencing calibration issues, whereas they print their layers up, it starts to go all over the place. It's probably because of stuff like that, where there's a bit of flex and play and stuff. You probably can't see it great on the camera there, but that is bowing a couple of millimetres around. So, yeah. But it is going to be able to print, I think. And for $90 odd worth of printed plastic parts, it's a great start for somebody that's never done anything vaguely like this before and who's good at the programming side of things. Alright, let me know what you think in the questions and comments, any unanswered questions or anything like that. Feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.